The night sky shimmered like silk. Above the sleeping earth, the moon drifted soft, pale, and eternal. She was Selene, the goddess of the moon, and her light was not born of fire but of sorrow. Long before mortals learned to name the stars, Selene watched from her silver chariot, her hair flowing like liquid light across the heavens. Every night she crossed the sky, alone but radiant, watching the dreams of the world below. Among those dreams, she saw Endymion, a shepherd who slept beneath the olive trees of Mount Latmus. His sleep was deep and peaceful, untouched by fear or ambition. He did not look to the gods for power or favor. He only dreamed. And Selene, who had seen the hearts of kings and the fury of storms, found herself moved by the stillness of one mortal heart. From that night, her light lingered longer above his resting place. She would slow her chariot, her silver horses trotting quietly across the edge of the horizon. When the world slept, she would descend, a whisper of moonlight over his brow. Endymion never awoke. He only smiled, dreaming of a light that felt like love. Selene returned to the heavens before dawn, her chest heavy with longing. The gods mocked her heart, but she did not answer. For how could light explain its love for shadow? Night after night, she returned. Her voice, no louder than the wind over marble, spoke to him. Sleep, beloved. The world forgets, but I do not. Yet each dawn tore her away, the sun's fire erasing her memory from mortal sight. Still, her tears glimmered upon the grass each morning, the first dew, born of divine grief. Even Zeus, watching from Olympus, felt pity. "You are immortal," he said, "and he is not. Will you weep for him forever?" Selene lowered her gaze. "I do not weep for his death," she said. "I weep for the waking. The gods are cruel to love that defies its bounds, but Zeus, moved by her devotion, offered her a gift or a curse. You may have him," he said, "but only as he is now. Eternal sleep shall be his crown, and in that sleep he will dream of you." And so it was. Endymion fell into endless slumber, untouched by time, his beauty preserved beneath the watch of the moon. Selene visited him still, her light brushing against his skin, her tears silvering the air. The world called it moonlight, but it was sorrow given shape. Thus began the legend of the tears of Selene, the love that could never wake, the light that shines because it cannot touch. Every night, her chariot crosses the sky not to rule, but to remember. And when you close your eyes beneath her glow, you too may feel it, the whisper of a goddess who still weeps for a dream. The moon drifted low over Mount Latmus. Below, Endymion lay beneath the olive trees, his chest rising and falling in perfect stillness. The world called it death, but Selene knew better. It was not death, it was peace. Zeus's gift had been cruel and kind in equal measure. Endymion would never wake, but he would never fade either. His beauty was eternal, his dreams unbroken. In them, he wandered through silver fields where dawn never came, and always the moonlight followed him. Selene descended each night, her chariot silent upon the clouds. She would kneel beside him, her hand hovering just above his face. To touch him was forbidden. Even a goddess could not change what had been decreed. But still she stayed watching, guarding, loving. Sometimes she spoke to him, though he could not answer. "You are my stillness," she whispered. "When the world turns in chaos, you remind me what peace feels like." The stars heard her words and dimmed, as if bowing in reverence. Even the wind refused to stir when she visited. The night itself became sacred, an unending moment where nothing dared to breathe. One night, Hypnos, the god of sleep, appeared before her. His wings shimmered like shadow and silk. "You have taken what is mine," he said softly. The beauty of eternal rest belongs to me. Selene turned her pale eyes toward him. Then teach me how to carry it, she said. Teach me to make his sleep a gift, not a curse. Hypnos studied her for a long moment. You would share his burden? I already do, she replied. Moved by her devotion, Hypnos extended his hand. Then I will help you. I will make his dreams gentle and his heart light. He will never know sorrow, only calm. And so it was. From that night, Endymion's dreams became endless meadows and quiet seas. He walked beneath starlight that never dimmed, hearing Selene's laughter in every breeze. Though he slept forever, he was not lost. He lived in peace, an eternity wrapped in comfort. Selene, in turn, became something more than light. She became a keeper of dreams. Her glow no longer just illuminated the world, it calmed it. The sleepless found solace beneath her gaze. Lovers rested more deeply, and children slept without fear. Where her light touched, silence blossomed. Zeus watched from afar and smiled. You have turned sorrow into serenity, he said. Perhaps that is what divinity truly means. But Selene did not answer. Her gaze remained fixed on the earth, where one mortal slept forever, teaching gods and men alike the value of stillness. As ages passed, mortals began to whisper prayers not to Zeus or Apollo, but to the moon. They spoke her name softly before sleep, asking her to watch over their rest. And she did. Her light flowed through shutters and leaves, brushing faces with a mother's touch. Even those who did not believe in gods found comfort in her glow. They did not know her name, but they felt her peace. The night became gentle again, not a thing to fear, but to trust. And so, the goddess who had once wept for love found purpose in mercy. Her tears became blessings, her sorrow a lullaby. And every night, as she crossed the heavens, she whispered to all who dreamed, "Sleep, my children. You are safe in my light. There is no night without the promise of dawn." And for Selene, that promise became her punishment. Each morning, as the first blush of sunlight crept across the mountains, her silver light faded. The chariot slowed, her horses weary from their flight through the heavens. She would linger, resisting the pull of the east, as if by will alone she could hold the sun at bay. But Helios, her brother, rose without mercy. His flames tore through the sky, scattering her shadows. Selene would retreat to her cave at the edge of the world, her heart heavy. The light of day was too bright, too harsh. It burned away the dreams she had woven, leaving the world raw and restless once more. "Why must the dawn always come?" she whispered to the void. "Can night not have its peace forever?" From the depths of sleep, Hypnos answered her call. "Because even peace must rest, Selene. The world must wake to remember what it has lost. But every dawn steals him from me," she said. "It takes away my silence." "Then make the dawn remember you," said Hypnos. "Let even daylight carry the echo of your sorrow." And so she tried. When morning came, she left traces of herself in the dew and mist. Her tears became morning frost, her sighs the pale haze that drifts above rivers. But no matter how she tried, the light always won. Her beauty, her stillness, both swallowed by the roar of day. The mortals woke, their eyes opening to the world's demands. They forgot the dreams she had given them. They forgot the calm. Even the name of the goddess who guarded their sleep slipped away with the stars. Selene watched and despaired. "Is my love only for the forgotten hours?" she murmured. "Must I fade so that others may live?" But even in her sorrow, she could not stop loving the world below. She gazed upon it every dusk, her return painting the horizon in silver and blue. And when she rose once more, the people sighed in relief without knowing why. There were those who began to notice. the poets, the dreamers, the hearts who listened between breaths. They wrote of her glow, of the sadness that lived in the moon's face. They spoke of her love for a man who slept forever, and of how she defied the dawn to see him again. Selene read their dreams and smiled. Perhaps the dawn did not erase her after all. Perhaps, through memory and story, she lived on in the hearts of those who felt too deeply to forget. One night, as she brushed her light across Endymion's face, she whispered, "Even if the sun blinds them to my name, my love will linger in their dreams." And far away, as Helios rose once more, a faint silver glow followed behind his light, subtle but unyielding. The world called it morning mist, but it was her defiance, her refusal to vanish completely. The goddess of the moon could not escape the dawn, but she could teach it gentleness. And from that day onward, the mornings grew softer, gold warmed by silver, light kissed by shadow. Selene's curse became her gift. Even the dawn now carried a memory of night. The moon rose again, slow and solemn, her light stretching across the silent valleys of the earth. Yet tonight Selene felt no peace. The mortals had begun to forget her once more. Their temples were built for brighter gods, the sun, the flame, the storm. Night was no longer sacred. It was feared. From the quiet heights of Olympus, she looked down upon the flickering fires of men. Every flame was a defiance, every torch a small war against her reign. "They fight the darkness," she murmured, as though it were their enemy. Nyx, her mother, appeared from the edge of the void, her form endless and still. "They do not yet understand," Nyx said softly. "To them, darkness is emptiness. They cannot see that it is also shelter." Selene bowed her head. "I have given them dreams, rest, love, and still they light fires to keep me away." "Then give them a shadow," said Nyx, "something that moves when they do not. Let them see that even light depends on darkness to exist." Selene pondered her mother's words. The idea settled in her like a spark of twilight. That night, as her chariot crossed the heavens, she wept again, but not for love. Her tears fell upon the earth as silver motes that gathered in corners and beneath trees. They stretched and swayed, taking shape, and for the first time shadows were born. They danced softly, loyal only to her, following every living thing. Mortals gasped when they saw them, black mirrors that mimicked life. They feared them at first, for they thought the dark had come alive. But in time, they learned to live with their new companions, to understand that shadow meant presence, not absence. Thus the prayer of shadows began. In their quiet hearts, mortals whispered before sleep, "Lady of the moon, let my shadow follow me into dreams." And Selene listened. She walked among those whispers, her light dim but kind. She knew that even when her name faded from memory, her gifts would remain. The calm of sleep, the truth of reflection, the beauty of silence. But there were some who sought to twist her gift. Kings and prophets who claimed that the shadows spoke to them. They built temples in her name and demanded worship through fear. They forgot her gentleness and turned her stillness into superstition. When Selene saw this, she wept once more. Not for the lost, but for the frightened. "Even gifts become burdens when misunderstood," she said. "Perhaps that is the way of all creation." Her mother's voice echoed faintly. "Then remind them, darkness is not punishment, it is protection." And so Selene descended again. This time, her light did not fall upon palaces or temples, but upon small homes and weary faces. She caressed the eyes of those who could not sleep, guided the hands of those who trembled in fear. Her voice filled their dreams. "Do not run from the dark. It is where your heart can rest." And the world softened once more. The shadows no longer frightened children. The night no longer felt like a prison. People began to dream again, and through those dreams, her love returned to them. From that night onward, the moonlight carried not just sorrow, but mercy. It became a lullaby, a prayer sung by the stars themselves. Rest now, child of light. The night is not your enemy. It is your refuge. Selene smiled through her tears. Then perhaps, she whispered, my love was not in vain after all. 1,000 years passed like waves beneath the moon. Civilizations rose and fell. Their temples turned to dust, but Selene's light never faded. She had become a quiet companion to the world, her silver glow a constant promise that night would always return. Yet even eternity has its tests. One night, as Selene crossed the heavens, the stars dimmed. A cold shadow rose upon the horizon, swallowing her light. The earth shuddered beneath its weight. Mortals gazed upward in terror as the moon began to darken. It was the first eclipse. Selene felt it before she saw it. A heavy silence spreading across the sky, like grief made solid. Her light waned, her chariot slowed, and the heavens grew still. Who dares to take my light? She whispered. From the void, a voice answered. It was deep, echoing with ancient power. It is not theft, moon-born one. It is balance. A figure emerged, tall and vast, cloaked in crimson shadow. It was Erebus, the god of darkness, father of Nyx. His form rippled like ink, his eyes twin abysses that devoured all reflection. Why do you come for me, grandfather? Selene asked. Have I not served the night well? You have served it too well, Erebus replied. You have made mortals love the dark, when they were meant to fear it. You have given peace to a world that should tremble. Selene stood her ground. Fear builds walls. Peace builds dreams. Which world do you prefer? Erebus's form wavered. Dreams make them forget what power truly is. Then let them forget, Selene said, her voice soft but steady. Let them rest, for power without mercy is only shadow. The god's gaze softened for a moment, then darkened again. So be it. Then you will share my silence. He stretched out his hand, and his shadow fell upon her, swallowing her glow entirely. The world below gasped. The moon disappeared. The sky turned to iron. But Selene did not fight. She closed her eyes and whispered, If this is my end, then let the world learn the value of light. The silence that followed was complete. No wind, no stars, no sound. For 7 heartbeats, the heavens were empty. Then, from within the shadow, a faint gleam. It grew slowly, pulsing, defiant. The shadow cracked, and from its depths came a whisper. Even darkness remembers love. Erebus lowered his hand. The light broke through, soft as dawn but endless in its calm. The eclipse faded, and the moon returned, her glow even gentler than before. Erebus vanished into the void, his voice trailing like smoke. Your compassion is your strength, child of night. Guard it well, for even gods may one day need its light. Selene wept, not from pain but from understanding. She had seen the heart of shadow and found no malice there, only longing. From that night onward, she swore to honor both darkness and light, for each carried the other within. The mortals who watched called it a miracle. They sang songs of the moon's death and rebirth, of how her light had vanished and returned. They built monuments and whispered prayers whenever the eclipse came again, believing that it was her way of reminding them that even in the deepest dark, light waits patiently to return. Selene watched them and smiled. Then my love endures, she said. Even when I fade, they remember. And so, each time the earth's shadow crossed her face, she did not resist. She closed her eyes and rested, letting the world hold her in its shade, trusting that when the time was right, she would shine again. The eternal eclipse had become her prayer, a moment of surrender, not loss. A rhythm written into the sky itself, teaching gods and mortals alike that light and dark are not enemies, but lovers forever entwined. The centuries drifted by like a slow tide. Mortals changed, the gods grew silent, and the old temples crumbled into dust. Yet still, Selene crossed the sky, her chariot tracing the same endless path. Time had forgotten her name, but her light remained. She had become eternal not through worship, but through presence. Each night she looked down upon the earth, so loud, so restless, and wondered if peace still had a place in mortal hearts. They no longer prayed to her, but their hearts still softened beneath her glow. Lovers still met beneath her silver gaze, poets still wrote in her light, and dreamers still whispered secrets to the night. She needed no altar. Humanity itself had become her temple. But even eternity begins to tire. One night, as her chariot reached the highest point in the heavens, her horses faltered. The stars seemed dimmer than before. The world below was covered in smoke, its lights artificial and cold. The sky no longer reflected the earth, it fought against it. Selene looked upon this new world and felt a quiet ache. They have replaced the stars with their own fires, she whispered. They have forgotten how to rest. From the void, her mother Nyx appeared once more, ancient and kind. They have not forgotten, child, she said. They only sleep differently now. The heart still longs for peace, even beneath the noise. But they do not see me anymore, Selene said. They have filled their skies with light. My glow fades against their creation. Nyx smiled faintly. Then you have done well. You taught them to carry light within themselves. What is a goddess if not the echo of her gift? Selene closed her eyes. Then my purpose is complete. Nyx touched her cheek, her voice soft as wind through midnight fields. Rest, my daughter. Your light will not die. It will change. And so, for the first time since the birth of the world, Selene let go of her reins. The silver horses slowed, their hooves dissolving into mist. The chariot dimmed until it became a streak of soft light across the sky, a memory written upon eternity. The world looked up and saw a brilliant silver arc fading slowly into night. They called it a shooting star, never knowing they were witnessing the farewell of a goddess. But her light did not vanish. It fell gently across oceans and mountains, dividing into 1,000 fragments. Each fragment found its way into a human soul. The gentle ones, the kind ones, the quiet dreamers who looked to the sky and felt at peace without knowing why. Selene had become the pulse of night itself. Every calm breath, every soft sigh before sleep, every dream that began with peace carried a piece of her light. Her love, once bound to a single mortal, had become infinite. And sometimes, when the moon rises full and low, casting its silver path across the sea, those who listen closely can still hear her whisper on the wind. Rest now. I am still here. I am the light that dreams of you. The night exhaled, the stars shimmered brighter, and the world, just for a moment, remembered how to be still. The goddess had not vanished. She had become eternal in the quiet between heartbeats. And thus ended the tale of the tears of Selene, the moon that wept for love, and in her sorrow taught the universe to sleep.